call the meeting to order. Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes? Lila pointed out just a couple of not minor corrections, on the minutes, on the
The appointment.
the appointment, yeah. Is that on the
It's on the last page.
last page?
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
The treasurer's report.
Yep, that second bullet, that to appoint Wyatt, to add his last name.
And then
We're making an appointment.
also motion passed on the motion above.
Right up here, there wasn't a motion passed in the minutes, so. Lila has mentioned those two corrections, is there any other?
I'll move to approve as amended.
Moved by Larry. Second by Justin, all in favor? New business interim city clerk appointment.
Well, we discovered during the course of business that some things in our city code require the city clerk to do them. For example, the peddler's licenses, it actually says in the code that the city clerk approves the licenses. We do the background checks. Doesn't say that the background checks have to be done by the city clerk, but the city clerk issues the license. So that's one thing that we've run into. We anticipate there may be more. I think it will just make things a little easier to run in the office if I can act as the city clerk and do the functions of the city clerk.
I thought we did that.
No, I was just hired
To fill in.
to
and
help.
actually appoint her as,
So move.
moved by Larry, second by Justin, all in favor? Okay. Chris, you're up.
Chris?
You ready for a couple weeks? You got everything?
I think we're in control,
Good.
but I don't know for positive.
Yes, thank you.
So I'm just here to give you guys my current update for Cheyenne Community Development. There's a lot of information in here. I'm just going to kind of give you some points in here. We just recently received from Kansas State Tourism the numbers from 2023 for the economic impact. In 2023, we had a $350 million increase in tourism money, which put us at $8 billion that was brought in for Kansas for tourism. But the neat thing was this year we actually got the Cheyenne County numbers, so I wanted to share those with you. $2.4 million was brought into Cheyenne County due to tourism. That's kind of a big number. And that was a 2.3% increase from 2022. That created $195,900 in state and local tax revenue. And by bringing that in, it gives each of our households $134.80 relief on their taxes. It's kind of nice to know. I share that. I think you guys are aware, but if you're not, we did receive a grant from the Kansas Department of Commerce through their Office of Rural Prosperity for the Rural Champions Program, which gave us the ability to hire a part-time employee for 1 year. And that person is Lisa Krull, and she is our housing director, and she is helping us with dealing with some housing issues, both here and in Bird City. And we have completed a HAT, which is a housing assessment tool, which is able to help us guide us in what our actual housing needs are. We all think we know what they are, but the assessment actually truly assess those for us. And then we just recently were awarded a $25,000 implementation grant with that, which we are hoping to use to buy a piece of property here in St. Francis, and hopefully we are also applying for additional grants to actually be able to build 2, possibly 4 rental homes, so which is something we need. So that's our big project for this year. Also, coming up next week, Bike Across Kansas will be here in St. Francis. We are actually the kickoff town for that. We are expecting approximately 800 people that will be here. There will be 2 big community events during this. First will be on the evening of June 6th, between 5 and 8. We'll be having a community dinner for us as well as the bikers. So that'll be at the high school, and then the following morning from 5:30 to 9, we'll be having a breakfast. So we'd like to invite everybody to join us for that. Some other new things, we have joined a program through the Department of Commerce called Love Kansas, and it is a program to help invite people that may have grown up here but have moved away to move back home. As you know, we have a little bit of a workforce shortage, and this is a goal of trying to encourage people to come back home and realize that we do have good jobs here and it's time to come home. So, also, recently the Heart Gallery, they were recognized by the Kansas Department of Commerce, and they were part of the Community Development Week. The department came here as one of 12 locations, and we were the first ones to be recognized as a rural community that has done something really positive with their grants that they've offered. Some other things that have happened in the last year. We've had 6 new businesses open here in Cheyenne County. 2 existing businesses expanded or moved into a larger location. Currently, in 2025, we've had 3 new businesses, and we've had 1 business sell to a new owner. And currently, we are working with 5 people that are working on purchasing 3 businesses that are for sale, as well as an additional business that is for sale to a current manager. So, lots of new growth happening. Other things, we have been doing quite a bit of grants for organizations outside of our own. In 2024, we received $141,000 in grants, and so far in 2025, we've already received $149,000 in grants. We have $27,000 in pending requests, and we're getting ready to write a $625,000 grant. So, lots of things going on. Last page is our budget request, so I'll let you guys look at that. And any questions about anything that's happened in the last year? Answer.
Do you still do the ribbon cuttings for the new businesses?
We do. We've been having a hard time getting the new businesses to set a date, so that seems to be our little struggle at the moment. They get excited, they open, and then they don't know when to have the official ribbon cutting, so
Yeah.
it's been a little while since we've got to do that. That's what we do offer that.
Anybody have any questions? All righty, thanks, Chris.
Thanks for all you do.
Thanks, Chris.
Janet, you're up.
Before I make my request, I want to piggyback on something that Chris said about the Department of Commerce coming out, and that 202 was one of the stops. I don't know, everyone should have gotten that Northwest Kansas Today magazine. You see St. Francis on the front cover, and there's a great article about the Cheyenne Center for Creativity and the 202 project. So I just wanted everybody to be aware of that. That was pretty cool. So we've hit the news a couple of times, yeah.
Yeah.
So here I am again about sculpture. It's been decided that the Glenn Swigert sculpture called Ancestral Tree is now going to be, try to make its home at the museum campus. And since the city owns that property, we want your permission to put that sculpture there.
Do you know where you're putting it up there?
Yes, it would be to the west of the Old Country Church. There's a nice spot. Carrie Swigert and I were up there the other day looking it over. And it's between that and the restroom facility. There's a big spot there, and it looks like it would be a good place for it. And Travis Milne said that he would pour the base for it also. So and the Historical Society board is okay on board with it, and they just asked me to come here and get permission from the city.
Does anybody have any problems with that?
I think it'll be a great historic addition
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be
to
nice
that
to have
spot.
that
I
up
think
there.
that's really a better place for it than Main Street,
Yeah,
actually.
I think it is. I think it'll be good up there.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
All right, yes,
Thanks, Janet.
thanks.
Uh,
Old business property cleanup.
Haven't got anything new. I'm taking vacations, so I didn't get pictures of the
Oh,
on
is that
Dennison
okay?
Street. I'll get it.
Okay. Any on the, what's that, Third Street? started condemnation talks with?
We have a new address to send things to. So I had tried to contact them and it didn't, I never heard back. And then I tried again and I got a request to send everything to a new address. And so I will be getting that out probably next week.
Okay.
And short of that, I'm not sure. Short of that, I'm not sure without the city essentially doing a determination of dissent to find the interested parties to give them notice. But we will hopefully, this other contact that they have requested mail be sent to will get the ball rolling on that.
Okay, very good. Anybody else have anything on property cleanup? Project spending? Anything? Streets project. Haven't heard anything on the core sampling?
We'll be here tomorrow.
Okay, tomorrow. Okay.
For sure. So I got it for a message today. We'll be here to do the core sampling and the subgrade. I mean, that ain't gonna tell us what it's gonna cost us to do streets, but
That's a
it's a
start.
start.
Yeah.
And you're looking around town as well? Different
This is
locations.
mid-states and all that, downtown. There's gonna be the sampling.
Okay, ones we,
I did put a, I sent Casey a text today and he never did respond to me. That's what I got the last time from him, so. I'll try to give you one, but sometime.
What about, have you talked to Brock?
About?
About intersections? No?
oh, let's see, visitors, since we don't have Robert on, do we have? Oh, we do have Robert, visitors, nope, anybody, all right. Theater report, now Robert.
All right. I've got handouts. I think I only have 6. I may have undercounted, so you guys are gonna have to share or whatever. Amanda talked to me.
I think you guys need it more
Just
than
asking
us.
some questions about theater stuff, and so I'm just gonna go through everything right now, where we're at and what we know. I put at the top that I always like to remind myself that we have a great theater, an active board, an involved city council, great employees, and we show current movies every weekend at bargain prices, and, you know, that's something, so I'd just like to remember that. On this next generation internship program, basically, apparently there was some misunderstanding on it, and the theater board didn't understand it the way Amanda explained it to me. It says in here that I attached the email that Jessica forwarded to me when I asked her about it, but I didn't because my printer was running out of ink. But I can send you guys the email, but it's basically, it isn't clear to me yet that I can see how it was misunderstood, but whatever you guys wanna do on it is fine, because the theater board, you know, they were acting under, they thought it worked one way, and if it doesn't, then they're not gonna be upset, because it's just simply, they didn't know what's going on. So, do whatever you need to do on that. The next one is, we are showing a special movie, a special showing is what, you know, we call it, for the movie Plight, which apparently, and I missed this entirely somehow, a couple of years ago, was filmed here in Cheyenne County. And so the producer and the director, whose name's MJ Allahy, the junior, really wants to show it, and the board really does too, because the movie was shot here, so if you go watch it, you will maybe see your car or your business or your house in the background, and that's exciting. I have no idea how good or bad the movie is, but, you know, although it has some awards, so I don't think it's bad. I say in here that special showings are hard, and I'm only telling you this just so, because I think there's a general misunderstanding. People think, oh, it'd be great, let's just go show a movie in the theater, but it adds a lot of workload. We have to, the staff, either you have to bump a regularly scheduled movie, which we don't like to do and the movie houses don't like, or you have to have a movie in show it, and our staff are busy, they have other jobs, and then there's always, you have to figure out who's gonna get what percentage of the ticket and how it's all gonna work. So a special showing, it does impose more workload than most people probably think, and that's fine. We wanna do it and we do it, but I'm just making that clear that the board spends a lot of time on those. It's not easy to do a special showing. But this one, I think is gonna be great. This guy says it's gonna be a gala opening, and we're gonna have red carpets, and for all I know, the actors are gonna be, I don't know. He says it's gonna be great. We'll see. It's on July 3rd, which is a Thursday night, the night before the 4th, obviously. And we're going to close the theater on the night of the 4th because it's the 4th. So that sort of works, because then we'll still have the same number of movies per weekend, because we'll be open on Thursday and not on Friday. But Friday, we just think everybody's gonna go to the fireworks, and even though it doesn't get dark until 9:30, it seems tight to us, so. And, you know, we very rarely close, but, you know, Christmas and Thanksgiving, if they fall on that date. But we just thought 4th of July wasn't a good night to have a movie. So that's what's gonna happen, and July 3rd, everybody should be there. Okay, the renovation it's moving forward, although you couldn't tell it. What happened is we had bids for the major part of the project, well, for all of it, but this is new wiring, new ceiling, redoing the floors, painting it, putting sound panels on the walls, redoing concession area, and redoing the bathrooms to make them ADA compliant. So it's a big, complicated job. But our bids from the subcontractors came in on the plumbing and the electrical, and the board wasn't happy with them. And part of that, I think, after I looked into it more, which I probably should have done sooner, was that the document that we got from ADA in Lincoln, that's ADA is not disabilities, it's the name of the engineering firm. The electrical was very hard to sort out, and I think it was asking for things that didn't need to be done, like three-phase in places where there's no reason to have three-phase that I can see. So I got Terrence Lamb, and I met with him last Friday, to come down and walk through the theater with him. I just wanted a local, somebody that understands Cheyenne County values and understands that what we wanna do is make this place safe and the electricity reliable for the next 40 years, but we don't wanna spend any more money than we have to. So what do we need to replace and what don't we? And we spent a couple hours walking through there, and so he's going to draw up for us a revised electrical, I guess, set of requirements. And then what I'll do is I'll go back out and get local electricians to try to bid the electrical and the plumbing the same way, although the plumbing's pretty straightforward. The electrical's a lot more complicated, because that building right now has power coming in that's fairly new, because it was put in when you guys went away from gas furnaces to heat pumps, which is, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago, and that required a lot of electrical supply, which is great. And there's enough, it turns out, according to Terrence, enough excess supply that we can just pop off of that, so we don't have to do anything in the alley, which is wonderful news. And then, the way it's like, there's a breaker box in the back that runs the stage, the old stage. There's a breaker box in the booth, what you would probably call the projection room, and there's a breaker box in the office. And that's how we're controlling electricity. You run around and flip breakers. There aren't switches, there's breakers. I mean, it's 70 years old, and some of the wire in there is 70 years old, and it needs to be replaced. But not all of it does, because some of it was put in 10 or 15 years ago, and it's fine. So that's what Terrence and I looked at, and I think we have a really good plan. He hasn't gotten back to me yet, but it's only been 2 days. But when I get when he writes all this up, then I can go around and try to get bids on it. So that's where that is. other thing, somewhere in here, it's in here. We, the board, wanted to try to do this whole thing, this whole renovation, from the marquee sign to the electrical, to the sound system, to the ceilings and the floors, and the plumbing, all in one big fell swoop, because we wanted to minimize the amount of time the theater was closed, because when the theater's closed, people get out of habit of going to the movie, and it's a bad thing, and it's also bad for our employees, because they don't have a job. But we've come to the conclusion that because of the way grants work, it's easier to get according to Chris and everybody else, it's easier to get several small grants than one big one. And because some of these jobs, it's a diversity of contractors, we're thinking now that we can do this piecemeal. So we've already bought the sound system, or you have, and we need to do the marquee sign, and that's the next thing I'm gonna talk to you about. The electrical could be done separately, I think, from the rest of this, because if you really think about it, you can't have somebody cutting the power off when you got 3 other contractors in there that need electricity. So we've kind of revamped our thinking, and this renovation, in quotation marks, is gonna be about 3 or 4 items that goes along, and I think that's actually gonna be better. It may result in slightly more closures, but maybe not. Maybe most of these projects, for example, doing the sound system didn't require us to close, changing the marquee sign won't. And it's entirely possible that the electrical could be done in such a way that they could turn the power back on Friday night and turn it back off on the next Monday morning if it took more than 1 week. So I guess what I'm saying is this thing's turning into kind of a step-by-step process, but I actually think that's better. I didn't think that 6 months ago, but I do now. So and that's turning out to be easier to swallow because it's a big project. Then apparently on the sound system, there was a grant process, for you guys to get reimbursed or however much that you can get, and that same process is going to happen on the marquee sign, and presumably on everything that we can get a grant for. But you guys were wondering what had happened, so I called Chris up and talked to her, and she said the way and maybe you guys already know that because I saw she was in here earlier. The way it works is, the formal process is the city has to request that she do a grant, then she does all of the work on it, and then when it finally gets ready to be approved, the city office has to send it in. She can't do that. And so somewhere in the process, it had just stopped, and now I think it's probably going again. It is going again. So
It's not one that, because a lot of times, those grants, you can't have the work already done and paid for, but this one was eligible?
That needs clarification.
Because a lot of times they won't, if it's already paid for and done, then,
Right.
You're
I
not
don't think the Hanson grant will pay for something that's already been done.
yeah, but I don't know the answer to that question.
okay.
But I know Chris also, it isn't just Hanson that's being involved. I think of Hanson at least, well, that isn't true. I was gonna say I think of them as just the big money grants, but they've given us small amounts of money in the past. And I don't know the answer to that, but I know Chris has, when you start talking to her, she says, well, there's this one and this one and this one, so, I'm hoping that we can get one going. And I think, yeah, you're right. Even though we had talked to her and we thought we started it, I don't know if it had been officially started, so it's a good question, I don't know the answer.
So she did talk to me, and the one that she talked to me about was a Hanson grant. And basically, the city, I would initiate the grant if the council approves for me to do so. But she does the legwork. She does all of the actual writing of the material. She is a collaborator on the grant. And then once she's done her part, then we review it, and then the council approves me to submit it on behalf of the city. So that's how that's working. It doesn't require any work from our office. But that was not, my understanding was that wasn't for a reimbursement grant. But I have talked to her, so we will continue talking and get the facts.
Yeah, it might be a problem, and I didn't realize that until you said it, but I get what you're saying. And yes, that's exactly how she described the process to me.
Yes.
So, all right, I told you all I know about that. The last thing on here is, the board voted to go ahead and upgrade the marquee sign with commercial sign in Colby. And if you haven't looked at the marquee lately, up close, you should, because it's really showing its age. And there were two bids. The first one was something like $43,000, which I thought was shockingly high, but apparently I don't understand how much signs cost anymore. So when I asked him about that, he says, well, we could maybe upgrade the old one, and that's one of the handouts that I gave you, and, make it look nice, and we'd basically be upgrading everything but the actual physical structure, and then that's something like $22,500. So the board voted that, request that you guys approve that, and then in that process, we would want to get going on the grant maybe before. If you guys approve it, I won't call commercial sign until you tell me it's okay as far as the grant.
So I think this is the project that Chris was talking about, not the previous project, but this one.
Not the sound system?
Right.
You're right. Yeah, well, she was, because there is apparently there is, Kansas Department of Transportation or something has a grant that specifically is designed for signs on the front of businesses, and several businesses in the community have applied for it, but she said we can have up to 5, and she'd saved one for you guys, so. But it was only, I think, $2,500 or $5,000, so she was gonna also try to get another grant, because it wasn't gonna be enough to do the 22,000. But I thought she was also working on the sound system, but maybe we can't, if we can't do it retroactively, that's sad, but I don't know. So I guess that's basically it, as far as I know. You're up to speed. And then, do you guys have any questions for me?
Any questions?
So I'll get some more details from Chris, exactly what she's talking about, what grants she's talking about, and what we need to do. I won't be able to be at the next meeting, but I'll get the information for Jen to get whatever motions we might need to move on that.
Yeah, and I think instead of approving the marquee, let's move forward with applying for grant funding first, and then see what we can get. So
Yeah,
that way we don't get the.
Yes, I don't know that, as far, the theater board is like, okay, we think we need to do this, we think this is a good bid, and we think getting a grant would be great, but we're not experts on grants, obviously. So, yeah, once we do that, I think you guys just need to get Chris going on it. You would think, I don't know, you'd think there might be a grant out there somewhere where they wouldn't have to know that you've already paid for it, but I don't know.
Cause wasn't it one time, we had talked about the sound system and somebody said to take it out of a capital improvements or something?
We
Yeah,
talked
it-
about it a month
I
ago.
thought he had come,
Yeah,
He
you guys,
and, cause Ty remembered, or that's what he
Yeah.
thought too, he goes, no, I thought the city had voted to.
With them applying for grant funding. And that's where something fell through the crack, and the sound system was ordered and put in and purchased without the grant funding. So if you go back to, is it March 10th? That we approved it with them applying for grant funding, and so it wasn't, and
and as I recall, what you had done was you had requested that it be done out of as a maintenance item, not a capital acquisition. Wasn't that what happened?
Maybe it was that,
do you remember?
Let me just go print those minutes.
Okay,
It won't take me very long if you guys have something else to
I
discuss.
think it was probably capital improvement, Jen.
Yeah, I thought for some reason you guys wanted to do it out of maintenance instead of capital improvements. Of course, the theater board doesn't care.
Yeah. But yeah, we did approve it, but with them trying to.
With the understanding it's gonna be grant funded.
Well, and we thought that the grant project was, that Chris was working on it, but the way she explained it to me, she had sent an email to somebody and she was waiting for a reply, and she said, I didn't get a reply, and I sort of forgot that I hadn't, and so it felt like it just fell through the cracks, is what it felt like. We and Chris and you guys had talked about a grant, but it just didn't happen for whatever reason.
wanna talk about the next gen while we're waiting for Jen to get those. So, and I don't know, if we've talked about it with the council. So I
don't know
think
if we brought it up or not.
the council was kinda under the same understanding as the theater board, as far as the next gen, to get help through the summer, hoping that then you would have another employee to fill a vacancy, cause I know you guys were short of help.
Yes, that's what we thought it was just a way to help us get people through the summer and then maybe, hopefully, because our problem is that some of our high school employees, high school age employees, once school starts, they've got football or whatever, or, you know, that they just get busier, and so sometimes we lose them. And, you know, it's great to have them through the summer, but, you know, they have things going on Friday night and sometimes Saturday night, and it's just hard, they aren't as available as we'd like them to be. You know, up until about a year or two ago, we'd run ads in the paper, and we'd have applicants, and we'd hire them, and we always had plenty of employees. It hasn't been a problem, but in the last couple of years, we're having trouble getting employees. I mean, it's an ongoing problem, so I don't know what to do about that.
So on the next gen, like I said, we kind of initially thought that would help you guys get additional help through the summer, maybe they'd stay. And Jessica with the foundation kind of explained it towards more of a mentorship program to where you're kind of training them to, maybe they go off to college and come back and they eventually become the theater manager. It's kind of above and beyond the duties of just theater teller, theater clerk, you know, I don't know what you call
Oh, thanks.
an employee. So that was kind of the intention for the next gen program, was to kind of more of a mentorship to train them to be, you know, take on additional duties. So they had 3 interns apply at the theater, and they're 3 current employees. So that's what Robert and I talked, and so they kind of misunderstood the program as we did initially, until I talked with Jessica over the foundation. So I told Robert we would bring it up, and the council decide how we wanted to handle. So initially it's the same 3, like it didn't bring in additional.
And it's existing employees.
Yeah, which I hadn't actually understood until you told me that, but, yeah, the theater board, I'm pretty sure, just understood this as a way to get some extra wages and hopefully, I mean, new applicants will be better, of course, but yes. The problem is, it's just hard to get new applicants.
Because it's not as many hours either as maybe some of the other
Right, it's nights and
jobs
weekends.
that are out there, but
The
yeah.
theater
it's
job is
not-
nights and weekends.
Yeah.
Nights on the weekends, yeah.
Mhm.
Exactly.
How much more were they expecting to get?
What's that?
How much more were they expecting to get through wages for the next one?
It was
Um,
Well,
Going up to
yeah.
12
and I think they're
hours.
currently, I don't know, I'd have to look at their current wages, but it's significantly less than that.
8 or 9 mostly, right?
I think so.
Did the pool?
The pool
We've
has
got an
one.
we've got one, but it's a, mentorship program or like that, I mean.
And I've talked with Kelly, and that intern is the head lifeguard, is doing the scheduling, is doing some trainings. And so they're actually taking on more of a leadership role within the pool. And that's what I don't know, what the intent at the theater, or what, you know,
I don't recall any conversation about internship or, you know, grooming people. We just thought it was like, this was helping out, hopefully get new employees, but it was basically just helping pay wages to get somebody doing a summer job, and maybe then they would carry on. But no, I didn't understand it the way you're saying, and I'm sure the board didn't understand it that way either.
yeah.
I guess I haven't seen it as far as any other next gen interns, as far as taking an existing employee, bumping their wages just for
Couple of
a
months.
couple of months. I think that, my 2 cents, but I think it sets a bad precedent.
Yeah,
I think,
supposed to be hiring, interviews and stuff like
Because
that.
you're trying to train people to go on and do, whether it be something additional in this business or give them a little more education background and leadership activities like you're talking
Mhm.
about.
But you could've lost them too, to them taking one of those positions somewhere else, you know?
True.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but
Yeah.
it is a possibility
Yeah.
that happens. So,
So did they get approved to do that, or how's that work?
no, we're the final
Waiting
thing,
on
we're
approval
waiting
from
on
us.
approval from us, so.
Yeah.
I'm with Larry, I think it looks kind of bad, taking advantage of, it looks like we're taking advantage of the
Yes.
program.
Oh, for sure.
And I guess my thought is either we say, you know, we didn't understand it, cause at first we kinda thought the same, that it would help you guys get extra help through the summer. Or, you know, we either say no or we let them do one intern with the understanding that there'll be some, should be some additional, whether, you know, it's doing some of the paperwork or, you know, doing some, shadowing the manager to learn additional skills above and beyond. I guess that's my two thoughts, either let them have one or,
Yeah,
No.
again, I think whatever you guys decide is gonna be fine with the board, because if the board realizes that it isn't what we thought it was, they're just gonna say, okay,
yeah.
and you guys are the boss, actually, and we remember that.
Well, I guess, my 2 cents is, I guess, since we have them, let's just have the board do an interview with 3 of them, make them work for it. Which one's gonna get, like you said, if they have
Let 'em
more
have one.
responsibility, as you would mentor that job.
Who did the initial interview process, do you know? Or was there one? Cause I thought that
don't
was
even
part
know
of the
that.
program.
As I understood it, there was something that happened at the high school, and I think maybe Jessica went up there. I'm trying to remember what she reported at the meeting that it happened and that this program was going to, you know, help us have wages for summer employees, and we, you know, I think we hoped also that it would be new names and faces, because that's what we need. But until I talked to you, I didn't realize that the people that applied were already, I mean, I give them credit for being on the ball, but and I didn't know that until I talked to you, so. And again, you know, the theater board only meets once a month, so sometimes things fall through the cracks.
I'll point out in the thing that you guys got there that the program actually started on May 22nd. So if you're going to do that, you're kind of behind the ball a little bit.
Well, the theater board's gonna meet next Monday, and I mean, I can just tell them, you guys can just tell me what you decide, and I'll tell them what you decided. Again, I don't, Jessica always wants more employees, because we always need more employees, but I don't know that it's gonna actually change the numbers the way it is now. And so I just think, I don't think there's gonna be any problem with the theater board, whichever way you guys wanna go is fine with that.
There's also more accountability if you hired somebody in this internship program. I mean, it can't be strictly serving candy and pop. I mean, there's gotta be some managerial experience or something in addition to make it justifiable to next gen.
I agree, and Jessica does a pretty good job at that, I think. She has certain employees, you know, like she'll try to teach them how to set up the, you know, the projector, which is complicated. And now how much they get into the accounting part of it, I don't know. So I think that maybe we do some of that, but maybe not to the degree that this next gen is asking for. And that's a fair point. I mean, yeah, if that's a requirement, then we'd have to know it and try to meet those demands. I mean, I agree. If that's what they want us to do, then that's what we have to do.
There's certain reports that she would have to fill out ongoing, what they've been doing with the employee and what the responsibilities are of the employee. It's not something that you just start and finish. I mean, there's ongoing requirements throughout
There's paperwork.
the term, yeah.
Oh, great. I know she'll love that.
So were there applications submitted by April 1st, the three?
I don't have any idea, this program, I didn't even know.
So
I
we're
thought
just
it was being
assuming they
run by
got
the
it, but we
city.
don't have
I
any
think
people.
that everything was done up to this point.
Yes, through Jessica, at the theater, Jessica, did all the portal work. We don't have access in the office to this portal, and we've requested that. So far, we haven't gotten that access, so I don't know, but I'm going to say yes. They followed everything that they were supposed to do, but they're using existing employees. So,
Yeah, I've never seen the portal. The only thing I've seen is the email, and it's like 3 pages long, and it's very confusing. And I have to say, when I read it twice now, I didn't see a big emphasis on management and training. It may be in there. It does mention that you have to go through a training program, and I'm assuming Jessica did that online or somehow. I don't know. And maybe that training program, if I'd seen that, would have made me smarter about it, but, I have no idea. There is something in there, though, about a training program that you're supposed to click through, or, I'm assuming it's an online program, I don't even know.
What's your thoughts, guys? Bud, do you have any input?
I've been through a couple of these, and they're basically, for us, what we did is taught them the business. And taught them how to open, how to close, and had to go through the paperwork on saying this is what we did. And that's what I'm understanding this to be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know, from a time standpoint, I mean, I can't answer that. I don't know if we're past any kind of limit to where.
They said they went through all the orientation, all that stuff.
they haven't officially started, no.
No, I know that.
So I've talked to Jessica over there, and she's waiting for,
For our approval.
for how we're moving forward with this before anything happens with these three.
And I understand this to be for new employees, not for, they've never been for already employed employees. They
Right.
never have been. They have been
Right.
for, to bring a new person on board is what these are designed for.
Was that the process? when they
Because we also
done this?
looked into doing.
Yeah.
That should have been understood, yes.
Yeah. But they didn't say anything over there?
And they're only at the theater, or they have other?
I don't know if they have other jobs. I think that they're high school kids, so I think they just
Yeah,
work
I
at the
just-
theater.
Got it.
That I can't answer, Justin, I don't know.
Okay.
I agree with Bud. I don't think it's right for existing employees to be in that program.
Yeah, should have been.
It's not the way it was ever designed. I've never been on one of these internships. It's for that. It's for new bring-ons.
And I think Amanda's right from our perspective.
I think they can come back
I might
next
put
year
this.
and
Yeah.
do it.
I don't think we wanna look like we're taking advantage of the situation. I just don't think that's right.
And that's what we thought was happening, was being taken advantage of. To me, it didn't look right, but on the other hand, I was gonna let somebody else read their way of doing it.
Sounds like a consensus. Maybe we'll just forego it this go around now that we all kind of understand it. And it sounds like you think the theater board will be okay under,
I mean, it's hard to know what, I think they'll be fine, because I think they're just gonna say what I'm saying. Oh, we didn't know it worked like that, and we actually didn't know who had applied. So, I mean, it came up at the meeting, it sounded like a good deal, we said, yeah, let's do it, and we went on with other stuff. It was never a big major topic of discussion.
Was the three employees under the impression that they would get it?
When it was first introduced to us, I think we thought, oh, this will be great because we'll get some new, fresh blood. Yeah, I don't think anybody thought it was gonna be the existing employees that were gonna apply for it.
I just make sure they weren't promised something that they're not gonna get.
Not to my knowledge, they weren't. I mean, I don't think so.
you have those minutes?
I can't even
read this, I mean, it says that the theater board will be pursuing the grant, which we thought we were because Chris was at that meeting and we told her, yeah, go ahead and do it. So, I mean, as far as pursuing the grant, we just said yes to Chris, go ahead. And then we thought that was happening. I mean,
And I know the way those grants work normally is you have to apply, get the bids and apply, and then before the work's done or paid for. So I think moving forward with the marquee, I think we'll go ahead, if the council wants to go ahead and,
I think right now the sound system's already put in.
Oh,
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah,
done
that's-
deal, yeah.
that's
So it's gonna
water
be a
under the
little
bridge.
harder to pursue the grant, I would think.
Talking the marquee,
Oh,
The sign,
gee,
mhm.
I'm sorry,
to go ahead,
yeah, and I'm,
go ahead and start that process
yes.
before we okay.
I'm pretty sure on the sound system, what we were told was you guys wanted to go from a capital expenditure to a maintenance item. And we said, fine. So I don't know if there was any implication in that, but when I talked to Chris, the way she sounded was like, yeah, I was working on that and I was waiting on a reply back from the city office and, I didn't get one and I forgot about that I hadn't gotten one. And so it felt like it just literally fell through the cracks.
Yeah.
Even if, I don't know if it was in the maintenance budget, if that has anything to do with the grant. It probably doesn't, I wouldn't think, but I don't know. But what on the marquee and going forward on the rest of this, I think what we definitely need to do is have the city say, yes, we want to do it. And then get the grant process going, and then we won't tell any contractor, okay, until we hear from you that you're ready for that to happen.
Yep.
Yeah, that should be the
Yep.
timing.
Yes,
So I'm not gonna
Yes.
call commercial sign. I mean,
yeah, don't call them tomorrow.
No,
Yeah.
I'd like to, but I will not do that.
Yes.
Because it doesn't sound like that works very well.
Yeah. No, I think we're probably in agreement that it needs to be updated, but let's try to get some grant funding. And then we'll see what happens with the grants, and then we'll go from there as far as
Okay,
approve
so
the
you'll
date.
just get back to us when you know more?
Lila, are you,
Yes, I'll
Okay.
reach out to Chris tomorrow and we'll see where we're at.
okay?
Yeah, I think she's she's seen these bids and stuff, I think, but yeah. Basically, commercial sign, as you guys probably know, has done the work on the marquee for the last, I don't know, 20 years.
Mhm.
And they know what it looks like. I mean, when I call them up, they say, oh, yeah, they even had me go crawl up on there and look to see if a certain box was in a certain place. I mean, they have intimate knowledge of it, and I don't know of any other company around that does this kind of work. So I just think it's a no-brainer to hire them. And we've always been happy with their work, and they seem reliable and honest, so.
There is one in Hill City that would like to come up here and do work.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Okay. Well, I mean, if you guys wanna pursue that, we can. We can get another bid, I guess.
I think for grants, they want 3.
But yeah,
Typically, they want 3
Typically.
bids.
well, I'll find out. Depends on
yeah.
the
I mean,
grant.
that would be an option to at least get another bid.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against that. I didn't know there was one in Hill City.
They also do, neon, that's how I know about them.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Commercial Sign used to do our neon, and they talked us out of taking it down, which
Yeah.
I think was smart, because what happens with neon is, it turns out, this one hailstone that's this
Mhm.
big can
Yeah.
break that bulb, and
Yep.
the light goes out for half the sign, and then it's a big deal to get it fixed.
Yeah.
I mean, neon is very fragile because the glass tube is holding that gas inside it, so LED is more robust by far. But, yeah. So, yeah, I guess I'll just wait to hear from you guys. If we need to call, and if I need to call somebody else, maybe I can get you to send me the, all right, can I just Google up Hill City and,
Yeah, you can Google,
Hill City and commercial sign or signage?
can't think, just look up neon, you'll find them
Okay.
under neon.
But I'm assuming they also do LEDs and other
Yeah,
things.
they do it all, but
Okay. Okay.
I wanted to put my Majestic sign back up, so I know it was all neon.
Yeah. Sounds good.
All right.
Thanks, Robert.
Thanks,
Yeah.
guys. See you.
See ya.
Pool report.
Well, we didn't get to open today, or probably tomorrow, probably Thursday, if weather holds. And then I need, probably 3 minutes of executive session to go over pool wages.
Okay.
Can I ask a question about the pool?
What's that?
Can I ask a question?
Shoot.
What can we do to try to get Mondays
pool board meeting.
All right,
When's the next one?
Don't have it set yet. I can work on that.
You advertise those.
I've gone round and round on that and always get voted down,
all right.
so.
We probably ought to mentioning that, we probably, when you have a meeting, get it on our website or on Facebook, so it's public that you're having your meetings.
We do need to approve, Morgan's gone up $100 this year on her swimming lesson fees, and I just need to get, a motion to approve that.
Motion to approve.
It'd be $1,100 instead of $1,000 per session.
Yeah, 1,100 per session.
Do I hear a motion to approve 1,100 per session for Morgan for swim lessons? Moved by Bud, sorry. Second by Justin, all in favor? Anything else?
Nothing else we really need to address, is there, Dan?
I don't think so.
Kudos to Dan and you guys for getting the pool ready to go.
One of the guys and Dan,
They got the training all done, I need to double check with Kelly, but I think we're waiting on a couple people to finalize their certifications. Other than that, that's all I've got.
Okay, do I hear a motion to accept and file the pool report?
So moved.
Moved by Dara, second by Justin, all in favor? Okay. Superintendent report.
do have one permit for concrete. Adam Millers, he's just extending his patio. I have one building permit here for the right road. And the way his is gonna work, there's a map on the back that shows where his garage is. You can see where the little tractor sitting. Yeah, right here. So, basically, he'll be 2 foot in there right away from toward the street. And this thing with that one is, according to him, I can't get them any smaller than 12 foot wide.
I'm sorry,
Your car park patios are 12 foot wide,
they're 12 feet.
so
I asked him about that, and he said he had it measured out, and I didn't need to come over and look, so I said, okay.
it'll be 2 foot in our right of way if you guys approve it.
Hmm.
It'll basically be right where that dirt pad is there. It'll go up to that.
He showed me a picture where he was wanting to put it, and I says, I cannot, I'm abstaining from it.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand the right of ways by the time
Yep.
they measure them out. and
There's no
everything.
utility there.
There should be no utilities there, no.
Can't, nothing obstructing going in there.
What's that?
Is there anything gonna be obstructing on?
I don't think so.
And the thing is, it's a carport, it's not like it's a garage that, it could be movable if need be.
Yeah.
So I looked that guy, that one up to you guys, and then this one will be up to you guys as well. This is 509 West Webster. They started building the shed in their backyard. I had to call them and tell them they needed a permit, but they want to use galvanized on the roof. They've already got galvanized on the roof, as you can see in the picture. And I kinda wanna steer that toward you guys, since we have a certain somebody to put galvanized in town, and it becomes a problem every time that galvanized comes up.
What, is that going in?
And we always say
Not
painted.
offensive wood, I don't know why it looks like
Yeah.
that.
Are they gonna paint it?
They didn't say. She's got listed on there that it'll be galvanized tin on the
Well,
roof.
I had it, I turned it upside down, that one right there, we did on the last one, on the last meeting, the taco truck.
Yeah.
Was there anything done on the coffee truck?
Coffee truck.
There's a coffee truck in town on
No, I haven't seen a permit for that.
But sometimes those people will come to town like on a Saturday, and they probably don't know our permitting process, and so now that we know that they've been here, if they come again, probably, if someone's out and about, it'd probably be good to just tell them they may not know our permitting process, so it happens once in a while.
Yeah, well,
How did that happen the last time?
I mentioned it to the one running the taco truck, cause they were running together, and I mentioned I never saw them. And she just said, well, I'll check, and that was the last I knew.
And so maybe now that the coffee trailer knows, maybe they'll get up here during the week and get it taken care of. I'm glad you said something to them so they know.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Didn't we have just kind of a general consensus that used galvanized needs to be painted?
That's
know what you were saying?
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say,
Well, there's people around town that have it.
Mm-hmm. Cause isn't that what we talked about? Wasn't, David was gonna put up a,
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
then we said it had to be painted. Is that the consensus to allow it and let the ASCII painted? And Dwight Rose, are we okay with that one?
It's quite a start, looks like it's half done.
Do I hear a motion to approve the building permits with the, understanding that the galvanized metal will be painted on the one? Moved by Justin, second by Larry, all in favor? Okay.
Do we need to have a building permit before we start something?
Yeah, not a built permit.
Yeah, I told him.
Can you call us?
Well, that's like, I guess Adams Brock's doing it, so it's already dug out and framed.
Yeah.
And I told you about Mid-States already. I did order the stuff for KDOT's water tap. Even that, I'm trying to get some drums for that dirt to send off to Solomon so we can get rid of that. They want, and something that has a lid, so I'm working on that. And then, yeah, I'll talk to you about that one next month, maybe, or next meeting. Let's say if we run into problems with trying to get some of these water taps done, I might talk to you guys about hiring the sewer to help us out, or somebody like that. And these pictures here are of Collings rental house, where it's curb, it's getting bad enough, the curb and gutter getting bad enough, it's starting to take the street out. It's washing us
Right up here.
On Spencer?
straight up from pool. The old Lewis house.
Yeah, old Lewis house.
Just
Yeah, you're right.
reference it.
It's washing out bad.
I didn't know if you guys wanna have someone with the office send me a letter, or
Probably send him a letter.
tell them we need to fix it, or
Yeah.
we're gonna have to fix it, or
Who owns that property?
Brett Polling.
Do you have an address of it? Okay.
301,
We can look it up.
301E, right? 300 block?
Yeah, through Spencer, I believe.
Yeah. Everybody okay with getting a letter sent?
You wanted to just come from the office
Just from the office, I think, don't you guys think?
regarding that it needs to be repaired?
Yeah.
Or,
I think we need to tell them that it
Needs
needs repaired, or
replaced.
will be repaired, replaced, or won't be replacement, and send
Billing
them
them.
the bill. Cause it is taking our street out.
Yeah.
On the share drive, there is a STO fine schedule that has been updated. It gets cut off on the thing, so I'm glad they have it up there. I've highlighted several that I want to discuss. I don't know if they're, just to bring to the council's attention. The STO states generally that the fine for a first offense, it can be up to $500, and the second can be up to $1,000. The section 13.1, the first one that's highlighted in blue, that section of the STO specifically authorizes up to $1,000 for that charge on the first offense, which would lead one to, bless you, which would lead one to believe that they view it as a more significant offense. So I didn't know if the council wanted to, bless you, take that under consideration and increase that, but I just wanted to highlight that to bring it to the council's attention. Anything that used to say summons, I just put going to district court. Most of them were fine. I see here that section 11 pedestrians did not get changed to the higher fine, so that will, I will update that. Under Article 12, the one that's highlighted in blue, improper passing of a school bus, that had previously been summons, and which would have gone to district court. The STO sets the fines for this specifically at $315 for the first offense, $700 for the second, and $1,000 for the third. Because there are specific fees set, I didn't know if the city wanted to have that be something we do, because then they can just write the fee. Then I also had the thought of, I don't know if there's school buses that stop in town, so I don't even know if that's applicable to within city limits.
I think on occasion they do make stops.
Okay, so I didn't know if the council wanted to, because there are set fines and it wouldn't be up to judge discretion, just put it in.
Put this, don't you, I think, just put the set fines from
Okay.
STO. Yeah.
Perfect.
Does that one need to be updated too?
Yeah, 11 and
12,
12,
yeah.
11 and 12. On 13, there were two of them, 87 and 87.1, the required minimum fines and second fines. The required minimum fine was 50, and since everything else was 150%, you go from 30 to 45 is 100, 45 is 150% of 30. I made it 75, which is 150%, and then the 100 to 150, which is 150%. I just kept the same ratio of penalty. If the council wants to amend that, I just used the same ratio as had been used for all previous things. The one highlighted in pink, there is a prohibition of parking within 20 feet of a crosswalk, a designated crosswalk that has to be marked, it has to be defined and marked as stated in the STO. However, for many years there's been the discussion of the parking at the intersection of Quincy and Jackson Street, and how hazardous it can be to try and see around those corners. And so if the council would like to decide to put a crosswalk on those corners there would be no parking within 20 feet of said crosswalk permitted. And therefore, anytime that the crosswalk was infringed or the view was blocked, there would be cause to issue a citation. It's been brought up before, and since I had to read through the entire STO to do this, I just thought I would bring it to the council's attention. It obviously doesn't need to be addressed today, but
I don't think you wanna put in a crosswalk.
I just thought I would bring it.
And then it would have to be enforced,
Yeah,
which is another issue that's to be enforced
Mhm.
anyways, and it's not being enforced, so.
I don't think we get into that.
Okay, I just wanted to.
Yeah. No,
It was a quick
food for
30
thought to keep in the
Yeah, it was
back, just
it was a
in
quick
case.
it was a quick thought that I had that I could just bring up in the meeting,
Yeah.
but then under
Going across Main Street. Is that a designated, which one, crosswalk?
within 20 feet of it.
Sometimes that is hard to see.
It's very dangerous intersection.
Those little kids are getting
Yeah.
out of the car.
I thought there was something before it stopped,
It's bad.
right there.
Cause it needs, I think, is it getting kinda light?
It never got repainted last fall, did it? I don't think we ever got the crosswalks.
But they
painted.
kinda know
Mhm.
it says stop, or
Yeah.
stop when pedestrians are.
And the
crosswalk,
crosswalk, there's a
yeah.
crosswalk painted on
Yeah.
there. So they shouldn't be parking within.
In front of the pool, right?
20
Or
feet.
that's what it's
Yeah, within
saying,
20 feet,
yeah.
right,
From
right.
the-
I mean, you have,
Courthouse, I don't know.
you not only have, patrons that park there, I mean, every now and then there's lifeguards that park there too, we just need to say something to lifeguards.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
know
they
if
just
there's a way
moved down, you know.
Yeah, I don't know if
That
there's a
would
way you put
Is it
some
no
yellow paint
parking?
there or something that would say no parking.
That would
I
probably,
think it's a good idea, but how do you enforce it? I mean, you don't
I
wanna
think the yellow paint
penalize somebody for parking and going to the pool.
would take
No,
one
but I would
accident.
feel bad if a little kid, 'cause
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
times.
You're right.
It's a very
When you're coming
dangerous.
down Main Street there, it's gonna.
I think if you did yellow paint, it wouldn't be a bad idea on the Dennison, you know, to come off where the sidewalk is, just to give you enough room that kids crossing the street, you can see them,
You can see
and they're
them,
not in between cars.
One place not done that.
Yeah.
Okay. The other. Going on to 14, the other one that I have, the one that I have marked in there, excuse me, not the other one. The second violation of this, the language requires the suspension of a license for 1 year, so I think I would recommend that first, second, whatever offense for the transportation of alcoholic beverages, it just goes to district court. Because it requires the suspension of the license for 1 year, and I guarantee you that's gonna get court-appointed counsel that the city's gonna have to pay for, and it's gonna be a big to-do, and I think we just send it to district.
Yep, that's fine.
Scrolling down, section 125, driving across lawns, sidewalks, yards, crop, etc. The STO has a note about the state statute, which provides for district court action for damages and suspension of vehicle registration. So I didn't know if we wanted to send that one to district court also, because the suspension of vehicle registration, I think, has to go through the county under the state set. So I mean, I don't know that we really run into driving across lawns, sidewalks, yards, and crop, etc. But just because the state statute, which would go through district, would provides for more comprehensive, I think that maybe we send it there. I don't really think it's anything we see a lot of. I've never seen. I've never seen anyone drive across the lawn.
I have.
Okay.
I've had to go get them.
I mean, we don't have. I mean, and we can leave it in here as is, but I guess it's
No,
just up to the.
I think we're good.
Send it to
Yeah.
district.
Yeah.
Okay. The one underneath that is just to bring the council's attention. It states that the penalty is $10 with each day being a separate offense. So I had to change that. The use of wireless communication devices, I just flagged it in case to draw the council's attention to it. Some cities are imposing larger fines for texting while driving. So I didn't know if the city wanted to consider that or just leave it. Again, it's just in there for your consideration.
I'd say we leave it and see,
Okay.
see if we have any problems with it.
We previously did not have 135 and 135.1, which pertains to electric bikes and scooters, respectively. 135 is electric bikes, 135.1 is electric scooters. I didn't know if we wanted to add those. It has to do with improper lights and brakes and things like it. It's it just pertains specifically to the electric bikes and electric scooters, so I didn't know if the city wanted to just add those two code sections in at the 30 and 45, but I just flagged that there for
Yeah, I've
cities.
been good with adding those.
For what now?
Electric bikes, right there to the side.
And electric scooters.
Under Article 15, there to the side, 135 and 135.1. We didn't have anything for electric bikes and scooters, just adding those fines.
It basically says you can't operate them on a state highway. You have to have the correct lights. It's responsible transportation, like it is for bikes.
But it didn't have serial number, so how are you gonna do that?
Sorry?
There's no serial number on a bike.
For scooters.
For electric bikes, you just said.
Why would there need to be? It's not a registration. It's just that it has to have like it has to have a taillight.
They all do.
Okay, well if it doesn't,
Then
I.
it's-
It's something that is not in our code. I'm guessing because of the way that it's edited in here, it may not have been in the old STO when this was adopted. And so, I mean, if the council doesn't want to put it in, that's fine. I just thought I'd bring it up with the prevalence of.
So all the bikes across the Kansas can't be on the highway?
Sorry,
All the bikes that come across Kansas can't be on the highway?
I.
Sounded like.
We're gonna have a heck of a time first of June.
Look at all that revenue coming in.
So,
You guys wanna add that in?
I don't think it's
No.
a big deal.
all right. Further down, section 160 is for improper lamps or light on emergency vehicles. 160.1 pertains, because it's 160.1 again, I think it was added into the STO after our other one. It pertains to the use of lights on wreckers, tow trucks, and car carriers. I didn't know if the council wanted to add that in there. Same with 162.1. It was added in, I think, after the fact. It pertains to warnings by stopped and disabled vehicles. And I didn't know with the increased traffic going on 27/36 as it runs through the county, but is also within the city limits, if we're gonna be doing these things for, to have them enforce it within city limits, I thought that perhaps we may want to consider
I
those.
think that's gonna be more not highway patrol, the ones that inspect trucks.
DOT?
DOT, they'll be monitoring that more than we will.
They're gonna monitor if somebody stepped on the side of the road, whether they have their hazards on?
I guess not on that, but I mean, on their flashing lights and all that, that's part of their inspections. When they.
I mean,
pull over.
that's fine, we don't
I mean,
have,
all this is basically just if somebody would be stopped within the city limits, this gives the sheriff's department the fine schedule to put on a ticket. I mean, if they get pulled over and get ticketed for this and we don't have it in our fine schedule, they're gonna have to come to court and it's gonna cost more money. So adding these things isn't really meaning we're patrolling every single, it's just saying if somebody gets pulled over for this infraction, they have
Right.
they have a price to put for the fine, then to see court or that the person won't have to go.
right, I mean, it's
So
not,
adding these
I'm
things in
not,
or
I'm not suggesting by adding these things that we're inherently seeking enforcement on these particular things. It's that if they get pulled over for some reason and say they're speeding and they have,
These are
some other
things that
issue-
are gonna be in
right,
STO that the sheriff's
It'd
department
be
can
easier for
ticket,
them
we
to
just
have
don't have them.
something to.
right,
Yeah, we just don't have them in our fee schedule.
right. So, I mean, if the answer is no, then the answer, I don't care one way or another. I just wanted to, like I said, it wasn't in,
I don't think that any of these will ever have an issue with something coming up that it will,
right,
but if it's there, that way if they ever have that infraction, they have a price to put for a
And
ticket.
the person can't argue with it if it's in there.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so add 162.1.
Yeah.
Okay. Further down, the STO sets the fine for child passenger safety system at $60. All offenses. It doesn't matter first, second, third, fourth, fifth. And the officer must inform the person stopped of the waiver provisions at the time of the stop. There's certain provisions in the STO which can waive the penalty if they provide proof of certain things within so many days, and they have to give them notice of that at the time they write the ticket. Seatbelts, the STO sets fine at $30 for all offenses. Safety belts and shoulder harnesses, it sets it at $60 for all offenses. Again, this is for children. And then what I did down below, I just wanted to specify for the sheriff's office that Article 2-115 is animal at large that is not a dog. The dog at large is 2-206, and that is specifically for dog. So if there's a cat or a llama or a chicken or a something that is not a dog, it'll be 115, and if it is a dog, then it's 206, because there has been some confusion on that, and I figure if we're giving them a new fine schedule, I just want to have that be clarified.
We can find cats at large?
Anything else?
I-
Anybody have any other questions? Did you talk with Judge Gardner about?
I haven't yet because I wanted to make sure that I didn't know about, he knows that he will have to, he knows that it will be coming to him, but I didn't show it to him or do anything.
So if we're good with
With
this,
that
should we
yet.
say June 1st for them to implement it? That would give him this week to,
Yeah, I'll send it to him.
is that all right with everybody? Do we need a motion to?
Yeah, well, no, because, I mean, I guess
Well, it's up to him.
technically it's up to him.
Okay,
And so I will speak with him about implementing that this week. And I will notify the sheriff's office that we would like them to start enforcing this
June 1st.
June 1st pending Judge Gardner's approval of it. And once he approves it, I will send that email with his approval and the fine schedule to the sheriff's office.
Okay.
I have nothing further.
Here, a motion to accept and file the attorney report. Moved by Justin, second by Dara, all in favor? Okay. Treasurer report.
I just need to get approval to, at the next regular pay cycle, we got the 2025, annual dues from KMEA, they're $414.
Here, a motion to approve
So
those.
moved.
Moved by Larry, second by Dara, all in favor? Okay.
And then, today I had somebody ask if they could ever plug into the park pedestals over here, in the courthouse, the electric pedestals. And I told them that we just really, I guess, have never discussed it, or I know that at special events, food trucks and stuff will plug in over there, but I had somebody inquire if they wanted to, set their, stand over there, like for the day, if we could figure out some way to let them plug into the electric pedestals. And then it occurred to me, you know, we have electric up at the roadside park, and we charge $25 a day for people to camp. So I just thought it might be something for the council to consider. I mean, I don't know that it's necessarily, just as easy to say yes or no. But I just thought it may be something to consider if food trucks or whatever would like to set up on a Saturday and be there most of the day and not have to run a generator. The only thing, I guess, Dan and I talked a little bit about it is, you know, farmer's market, I think they have a few vendors that plug into those, and we've never charged anybody. Like concert in the park, we don't, that's a big event, so I'm not sure how we would do that, or how you guys feel if somebody comes to town for the day and wants to use one of those, if they're using city electricity at no charge.
I think it's for a day, and it could just,
A food truck's gonna pull more than a crock pot at the farmer's market for,
Yeah, and I just am
You know,
given all
I'm
the
just-
scenarios, so we don't, you know.
cause I think that, didn't, when Jason came and asked to use the park, that he asked to use the electricity?
I don't remember, I'm more
I'm pretty
bringing
sure
that
you-
up just so it's, if you guys do wanna
Yeah.
do something like this and have us make a form in the office to where if somebody wants to come pay the fee, it's somewhat fair, or,
Mm-hmm.
Are they always turned on?
mm,
So how are you gonna enforce that?
Yeah.
Are the pedestals locked, or are they open? Cause I mean, the farmer's market's just right there in, underneath the shelter, you know, there's that plug-in,
Mhm.
which would be no different than somebody having a picnic or a family reunion that they've got something plugged in. I could see having a vendor where they're set up for 4 or 5 hours running
right.
power to run
Electric
griddles,
grills.
stoves, you know, fridges in their food. That would maybe be a little bit more than,
Would that be a question then that we would need to ask in the office if somebody's, how would we know that they're gonna need it?
Well, and that's why I'm bringing it to you guys, if it's something you wanna think about, if we, you know, because up at the roadside park, and I know that's camping, but the concept is the same. There's electric pedestals, it's an honor system. I don't think we wanna put like a payment box down there, but
I don't think you're gonna hit it that much.
I don't think there'd be a lot of people, but just like, you know, the taco truck that came to town Saturday, I mean, they've got their peddler's license. Instead of setting up on Main Street running a generator, if they pay $25 and can hook up to city power, they might be more enticed to set up here by the park and pay $25 than to have to run a generator for 4 or 5
And-
hours.
And maybe it's something where when people come in to get their licenses for these food trucks, we say, you know, this is an option if you wanna come to town, but it is $25 a day, so you would need to get us the money, or.
Mhm.
It was just a thought, because my standard answer when people get their license and they're like, can we park on the street? And I'm like, yes, but I always say, don't go plug into those pedestals over there for what you just said, like somebody running a food truck all day. That would, you know, they'd be making money off of that, not paying the city any, utilities for it. And then that's when the light bulb went off, well, we do $25 a day. It's not something we have to get an answer on tonight. I do have somebody that's interested in it, told them I would ask. But it could be that simple that we could offer it to them and say, it's $25 if you wanna come down for the day and plug in over here at the park.
Thoughts?
I'm not worried about it, I just don't think it's critical.
But where she had a vendor ask if they could plug in, would it be
Well,
something
if
we'd
they're
wanna
doing-
offer?
If they're doing it for days on end or something, but if you're just talking a day here and there,
I
But
think we
here's
should,
the deal, if they start coming to town every Saturday and doing it,
And
That's
that's a
one
lot of
thing.
power.
That's one thing, but if you're just coming for the day and then you're leaving and, I don't know, somebody try to get
I
the
have-
pictures in this town to set up here, not to run away.
Well, I think $25 is probably not that bad, you know, to be able to hook up the power than to have to run a
A
generator.
few years ago, I had one come to my shop that was paying me for power to plug in, but then turned around and moved downtown because she didn't have to pay for power.
Yeah.
So, that happens.
Mhm. And we kinda ran into that with the roadside of competing, and we don't wanna compete, you know, if people are charging to plug in and we're not. Cause then it's hard telling who you have down here plugged in for.
I mean, here's the thing, if they're willing to pay it, I mean, I see what you're saying, I don't know that we're gonna get overrun down here. But I guess at least the city be recouping some money off of the usage of, the power usage. but it maybe would encourage those vendors to come back, because I'm gonna guess some of those vendors, $25 to pay for power to be here all day is probably a drop in the bucket, and then maybe they would come more.
So you're saying you just say something when they come in and fill out the application or something?
And just say that if you're looking at coming in on a Saturday and you wanna plug in over here, that's an option for you, it's $25 a day. Because those trucks probably aren't gonna plug into under the awning with a crock pot, they're gonna need those, cause aren't those plugs a little bit bigger?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it was just a thought, I had never really thought about it before till they came in. But I know for me, I can't tell them it's okay. And then have one of you guys go, how's come they're plugged in over there? And then have them say, oh, that girl in the office said it was okay to use
Somebody's
city
stealing
power.
power from the city, and the city treasurer let them do it.
So just a thought where we are, I mean, we already have now two food trailers.
That have the
that-
peddler's license.
And then, if that coffee one comes back and they're aware of it. Justin's right, if we would allow some of this stuff, that would, I mean, it might tie into the farmer's market down there. It's just that would use more power than the crock pots, maybe warming burgers or whatever, so.
If we're gonna do it, we probably need a motion to, charge whatever you decide to do for that.
I think it'd be a good idea to put a policy in for $25 a day for food trucks or vendors. And maybe have another policy for, say, the farmer's market where they just go on and play radio or something, have a $5 a day deal for that.
Well, and I think when Jason was in, I'm pretty sure he asked that the bathrooms be open and that they do use low electricity. And
They
like I said,
already
it's
pay a
just-
fee, don't they, to the farmer's market?
Mm-mm.
No, they
No.
don't? Okay, I didn't know if there was
No, we
something in
waived
here.
it.
Okay.
So like I said, it'd be no different than a family reunion using
Right.
the electric and the shelter thing.
Right,
This would
and
be
the
the
shelter
bigger
part.
plugins.
Yeah, I'd say more of a food truck or
Yeah.
something.
For every event?
Well, we normally waive it for big events. We have, I guess we could if we wanna charge. But like concert in the park, when you have 4 or 5 of them set up, we've never charged for them to use it. Right, we always just waive
Well,
it for.
There's
Right,
never
that's
been a policy in place
Yeah.
to charge for that, so that would be something you'd want to do or
Which we could,
consider.
again, waive like we do the rental of the band shell, we could just waive those fees for those events. You know, the policy could be there that we charge $25 a day to plug in, and obviously the council would have the authority to waive that. So if we wanted to continue to waive for the big events, we could.
Does the swim team or something like that bring in food trucks when they have their, I was just trying to think,
That's a good question.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah,
do they?
I think they've had some stuff set up.
I was just trying to think, what else?
But sometimes it's all about
motorcycle thing,
location too.
Huh?
Sometimes it's all about location, sometimes they don't wanna be
A block
at the
away.
park, wanna
Right.
be where the event is,
Mhm.
or where they want, but yeah.
So normally when we, just so you know, when somebody comes in for a peddler's license or anything like that, they're issued from the office so that they can, get to work. So if it's something like that, like what you just said, and you want to waive the fee, we're not gonna be able to do that because it would very likely be before a council meeting. And we don't wanna not give them their license.
Right.
So I'm just making you aware of that waiving the fees is great, but you may not always have that opportunity to do so.
If they wanna plug in.
Yes.
I mean, they could still get a peddler's license
Oh,
and set up on the
yes.
street and not
Yeah.
Yes.
opt to use the
Waiving
electricity.
waiving
Right.
fees would probably be more for special occasions, they're gonna apply for a special event anyway.
Yeah.
So that's when you would waive fees, it would be special events and things, so peddler's situation, I don't see as,
Well,
Well,
like
you
the
were
concert in the park, you
solicit your own vendors.
Right.
And so I think that would be a little bit different too, because they've already got approval from the council for their special event in the park. They're soliciting their vendors. They know what they need to do for their vendors. We would already know that that's happening.
Right.
And so I think this would be more for the people who wanna come to town
Ice cream
more,
truck,
but,
lemonade truck,
Yeah.
the
Okay.
taco truck. They
yeah.
wanna come set up on a Saturday and they'd opt to use the electricity as opposed to run a generator.
Yeah,
Is the difference here. It's be a one-time, one person,
yeah.
occasional basis, set up and wanna use
Yeah.
electricity.
And that makes sense, I get that.
Yeah.
So, is that what we wanna do?
But then it's like Lila's saying, though, how are you gonna, if you get somebody new that wants to come in, I mean, it's probably, it's random, that might not even happen.
We had it
Everyone
Saturday,
tried.
there is a coffee trailer in town that didn't come get a peddler's
Yeah.
license.
Yeah,
You know,
because they didn't know.
taco truck the last time came to town didn't get a peddler's license, you let them know. Next time you come to town, you need to come to City Hall prior to, so you can get your
Yeah.
permits, and most of them do, so, you know. And this would be, if they want to use the power, they're gonna have to know to come on Friday, if they wanna run on the weekend. And they
Was
might,
the taco truck here over the weekend,
yeah, it was here Saturday.
Saturday?
Yeah, they sold out early.
So, I guess if we want to do it, we need a motion. If we don't wanna do it, then we can move on.
On those peddlers license, well, just rewind here,
Okay,
cause they get it for the year, right?
Well, it's really more for the transient vendor. The food trucks are more of a transient vendor, and that is typically, don't they usually get it annually?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
so.
well, I was trying to think if there was some way to tag on something. This is what you pay for a year if you do what? Electricity,
Well, so that is an interesting point, though, because the peddler's license is for the year, so they don't
Mhm,
have to
that's
come
why.
back in
they don't have
every
to come
time
in
they
every time.
come.
Mm-hmm.
but if they wanna use power, they would have to.
Well,
That's
it
what I'm
is,
saying.
is that what we want to relay to them, that if you want to come
was just
multiple times, you'll
trying to
need to come back
Make
in
it
every
easier for them.
time?
And for
And I
us being closed or, you know,
Yeah.
missing or after hours, I was just trying to.
think,
Yeah,
well, and
that's
if
a
they
good
wanna
point.
say, we think we're gonna come 4 times this year, here's $100. You know,
Yeah,
I mean, like you said, it's an honor system, just like the roadside park's an honor system. We're gonna have to assume if they wanna plug in, that they'll come get the paperwork, and do
Okay.
things correctly.
So here's an idea. We let them know that because roadside park is an honor system. We let them know that this is an option. They wake up on Saturday morning and they think, today's a good day to go to St. Francis. We let them know we have a payment box out here, because I guarantee, and if we tell them in a kind manner, like, this is small town, someone's gonna see you plugged in there. They decide on Saturday morning to come do this,
They could put,
they put a payment
with their name on it.
Yeah.
in the
That's a
payment
good
box,
idea.
and then there it is, and that would be no different than roadside park.
That's a
Yeah.
good idea.
that's a
Yeah.
great idea.
And so, because I think that most of them honestly would be really honest about that, and I'm wondering how grateful they'd be, because then they wouldn't have to run a generator for 3 or 4 hours. They might be willing to stay here longer, and this is a block from the park, so even if they get set up and they walk it over and stick it in our payment box, I don't think we would see an issue, because,
They're not having to come on Friday.
uh-huh.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And
That's a great idea.
yeah, nope, I think that would,
Way to go, Jen.
Yeah.
Every once in a while.
Too bad you just didn't say that at the very beginning.
To
So-
what?
why'd you say that from the get-go?
I never really thought about it till you guys were just saying that, because,
Well,
you know, so that really probably would solve all the issues. I would never tell anybody they can plug in over there, and so I make sure that all these vendors know they can't plug in over there. But had the conversation today, and they're like, well, what would it take to be able to plug in? What could we do? I'm like, that's not bad.
Move to that.
Justin moved,
second.
second by Dara, all in favor? Okay,
Great.
I think that's all I had.
do we hear a motion to accept and file the treasurer report?
Move.
Moved by Justin, second by Larry, all in favor? Clerk report.
Oops, hold on. Gotta write my notes. We have a lot of documents when we're doing paperwork for example, bringing on new employees, and during the pool, that's a lot of them. And there's a lot of paperwork. And a lot of the paperwork, it's just policy stuff. It's our policies. And they have city clerk. I would like to get a motion from the council to allow other people to do the majority of the paperwork, because it's just policies that they're signing off on, policies that our employees have to read, and then we check them off and we sign. Wyatt's been doing a lot of that for us, and it's a big help. There's some documents like the I-9 that require an official signature. I can do that now. We were having Amanda sign those. That's a federal document and it needs to be signed.
So we need to get Wyatt an additional title?
That's right.
He is a technology director, and I can't remember what else. He's a municipal court clerk now. Yeah, all kinds of things.
So are you just talking about having Jenna Wyatt
Yes,
have the capability?
just giving them permission to sign documents that are just city documents.
I'll move
That-
to approve that.
Thank you.
Moved by Larry, second by Justin, all in favor?
And then the next thing is the letter from Adams Brown regarding assisting with the budget. And we'll need, if you approve it, we'll have Amanda sign it. Their fee to assist with doing the budget is $1,800. Many years ago, before I came, the auditors actually did the entire budget. And they will still do that for a fee of $4,000. I'm gonna keep this kind of short, but when I came, while it's a good budget and it's a workable budget, when they do one for you, it's not accurate as it could be, in my opinion. So when I came, I created a system to make our budget better. And it involves, and I can share this with you at the budget workshop, but it involves spreadsheets that do comparisons to the last 4 years, a lot of data to analyze and come up with what makes sense for us and what we plan to do. Rather than just, what they would do is they would use the 2024 actual numbers from the audit, they'd plug in the 2025 budget numbers, whatever they happen to be, and then they'd add 3%, and that was your next year's budget. And that is certainly workable, but not as accurate. Anyway, I would not recommend doing that. I'm happy to help with the budget. I enjoy doing budgets. My intent, I've already been working on the spreadsheets that I have. And my intent is to hopefully have a budget workshop the last week in June, first week in July at the latest. I'll be working with Danielle between now and then. We work back and forth. Generally what happens is I'll create something that's a starting point on all of the budget numbers. And I've got a few questions for you on that here in just a second. And then I'll send those off to Danielle, and then she usually looks at the the library, which we will definitely, if the council wants, make sure that the 4.5 mils is in place this year. But we just go back and forth and work and come up with something that's a starting point for the budget workshop. And then you guys make changes from there, and you guys know the process. So one of the things I need to know to get started, though, is your intent to try to stick with the 3% ad valorem increase, which is generally what has been done in the past. That can be changed, so we're not stuck to that. That's just a starting point for me to try to meet that goal with the numbers that we come up with.
That's what we've been doing.
Yeah.
I believe that's what, when I was here, it was 3% is what we tried to do.
Thanks.
Okay, okay. That's really all I needed, and I'm assuming you guys also want the library to get the full 4.5 mils. Okay. Those are the two things that we'll work on. I think that was it.
Thank you, by the way.
Of course, yes, of course.
She's excited about it, though.
I actually
excited.
really enjoy doing budgets. So,
She gets paid to do it.
so it's kind of fun for me,
And
but,
she comes out to me and says, oh, I'm really sorry, you're gonna have some journal vouchers to do, but you don't need to do it today. As she's analyzing.
Well, there are some things that I've found that are gonna need to be probably corrected, and so at the budget workshop, as you guys know, that's when we go over all those details and talk about all of those things, that I see, that need to be brought to your attention and that kind of thing, but, I don't know, do you have any questions for me? If anybody ever wants to come in and see my worksheets, I'm happy to share. But
Put 'em
anyway,
up here, Lila, at the
Oh,
budget.
But you got-
you know,
Workshop?
actually, I will.
Yeah.
I will,
right.
because I think it's good for you guys to see the process that I use. It actually, so you can understand where I'm coming up with these numbers, and they're not just guesses that, are coming out of the
Did you
sky.
get all your spreadsheets rebuilt?
Yes, I did. They are good to go. So, anyway, they should be accurate. So that's it for that. I'm gonna have Amanda sign, need a motion to approve the Adams Brown doing the budget.
Your motion to approve.
Move.
Moved by Justin, second by Dara.
And it's on the second page. Thank you. Okay.
Moved by Justin, second by Dara.
Okay. And then the last thing that we have on here are the two peddlers licenses. So I believe you guys have been approving those. The code is written in as such that, like I said earlier, that they're they're issued by the city clerk because we want them to be able to do their thing. We do background checks if you're not aware of for those. And we get all of that done. We have had Ozone Roofing. These folks were out of Hayes, and they have 3 people that are going to go door to door. And we have Ready Roofer. The one guy was out of Burlington, and the other one was from Colby. And so those have been issued. If you want, I didn't bring them. If you would like me to bring them in the future, I will. If you would like to make a motion to approve those, you can. It's not necessary per our code, but you certainly can. And if you would like those, please let me know.
You do it.
Okay,
You're good.
okay. We'll let the sheriff's office know that these have been issued so they know. And citizens need to know that these people have a permit that they can show. So, okay, that's all I have, I think. Is that all I have, Jen?
I think so.
This was a group effort, so I'm kind of rusty.
There, motion to accept and file the clerk report.
So, second.
Moved by Justin, second by Larry, all in favor? Council comments, Bud? Nothing, Larry?
Only thing I've got is alumni's coming up on the 21st of June. I will be bringing a band in out of Denver area, Secret Agent Band. They do a lot of 70s, 80s, 90s type stuff. So, we'll get some advertising up around town. That's all I got.
Dara?
What day's our next one? I was gonna say, it may not be,
It's the 9th.
nope, I'm gone.
Okay.
Nothing.
Couple of things. We had an issue up at the roadside park last week where somebody dumped trash. There was some invoices, receipts with their name on there, so we know exactly who it was, without having to go to the security cameras. Notified the sheriff's department and asked that they get a hold of the person and tell them that they can't dump trash and ask them to come get it, or we can issue a ticket. I talked with the sheriff's department today, and they have yet to be able to get in contact with the people, and the trash is still up there.
Amanda, it's actually at the recycling
Sorry,
center.
recycle. What did I say?
Roadside park.
Roadside.
You're-
Recycle center, sorry.
You're in the right
Yeah,
area.
yeah, okay. Up at the recycle center. So, Dan and I talked briefly, do we want to, I mean, it's sat there since Wednesday, was that Wednesday last week?
Yes, when
So-
they were gone, yes.
Did they come get it?
No, they haven't been notified, the sheriff's department hasn't
Oh.
followed through.
Roughly 5 trash bags, kitchen-sized garbage bags.
Local?
Out in the country.
Well,
Are they-
yeah.
Are they out of the way?
Well, the thing is, then the trash bins are full that they can't use them.
Oh,
And you can't do that.
Yeah, that's a good. So, I guess, do we want the sheriff's department to try to get a hold of them and pick up their trash?
interesting.
Well, I think we need to.
Or, like Daniel and talked, we could send them a bill, so we can go ahead and
I
dump
think
it.
some of them will.
And with a letter, with a picture, I guess, and tell them not to do it?
I had trouble with them filling mine, and so I called the sheriff.
You think sheriff
You
needs to
can.
take care of it?
When I talked with Jeff, I said, normally when this happens, contact the people, tell them it's not allowed, they need to pick up their trash. If not, they'll get ticketed. There's never been a problem in the past. We've not been a week of trying to get somebody contacted.
So you want a letter sent,
They not understand, or they, I didn't know, what the deal is there.
what are we billing them for?
Yeah.
Dumping their trash.
Littering.
I mean,
I mean-
there is a fine for littering. We'd have to look it up, but there is. I'll bet Lauren can find it.
They put it in the trash can.
Oh, they put it in the trash.
It's,
Theft of
It's-
service.
But I was gonna
It
say
is.
theft of
Theft
services also.
because-
There's no dumping trash down there, does it?
I don't know.
Yeah,
There
that
used to be a
kind of,
sign that says you
I
can't.
think there used to be an office there now. Cause that's what I said today, we brought up was something up there.
That's common sense.
yeah,
You would think.
I think 5 trash bags for this.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say a trash bag, you can see maybe they just actually haul it to town and got the recycle out, like, oh, I'll just get rid of this one
Yeah.
here. You know. 5
Clean a little bit,
bags is-
yeah, clean a little trash out of their vehicle.
Hey, that's shame on me. Us.
Yeah.
What you
I don't know, I think if you do anything, you just send them a letter and say, please don't do this again. I don't know, because you can't really enforce it.
You
well,
can.
not without law enforcement getting involved.
Yeah.
I mean, and that
Well,
was,
But it was trash.
Can we?
and it wasn't just
I can.
all
I can
receipts.
issue a
Oh, okay.
citation.
That's what
I can
didn't
issue,
know.
I can issue a citation and have the judge sign a summons. It'll go to court. I mean, I can't do a warning, but I can set a court case.
Just hope it didn't happen again.
well, and I think if you put a little teeth in it for a time or two and it won't happen, word will get out that you can't
I'd
be dumping trash.
I call the sheriff's department goes up and talks to them, they usually come down and pick it all up and haul it clean out.
See, that's what,
That's
that's
what's
always
supposed
happened
to.
in the past, and this
So
is,
I don't know.
That's a problem.
But at least the same people don't do it the second
I
time.
tried Friday, Violet contacted me, and I called Friday afternoon, knowing there'd be a long weekend to see what they wanted done, and I never got a call back. I had to call
Be under
myself
theft of
today.
services.
What's that?
It would be under theft of services, but I think that's
Have
in
them
the,
call and pick up their trash.
I think that's in the UPOC, not the,
Oh. I mean, it feels like if we don't have the backing of our law enforcement to do anything with this, we really can't do, a letter's not going to do anything. And I don't think.
Larry
think-
suggested just follow up and have them follow through, tell them to pick up their trash and not
That's
do
what
it
I'm saying,
again.
just
If
have,
they're doing it,
call the sheriff's
if
department
they're
and
doing it
have
for
them
Bud
clean
and
it.
other people, I mean, yeah.
Well, the sheriff's
We'll try
department
that.
was
If it's a
called.
problem, then we'll.
They were called Wednesday when it happened,
The
and I was,
sheriff's department's been called, but they're not answering their phone.
Oh,
The people that left the trash are answering their phone.
There-
Oh.
that's what I've been
well,
told.
then the sheriff
Oh,
needs
is
to
that
go
what it
over,
is?
over and make
Oh,
a visit.
That's what I've been told, they can't get a hold of them.
But they don't live in town.
Well, I never got that far, if they're patrolling, they can stop by and
Can't they deliver,
deliver.
a notice? Haven't we done that in the past? Had the sheriff's office deliver,
The trash?
no,
I'll suggest that. Would you just go pick up the trash and deliver it to them?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't,
I mean, Jeff was gonna, Jeff handled it, and then he was off a couple of days, so he talked to Sam, and he was gonna follow up with Sam and see where they were at with it.
Needs to be followed up on,
Okay.
followed up on
I mean,
this, to get
we'll
the
pay
sheriff
them
to go
to
for
Yeah,
help.
we're paying them for it.
So,
Go
okay,
actually to the house and visit with them, not
okay,
just
I'll
call
follow
them.
up and see what we get there. The other, real quick, we had talked with the sidewalk issue and the shipping containers that we weren't gonna allow. Did we want to follow up on those two issues, or
Sidewalk issue.
the sidewalk that was taken up, that we determined in our code that it's to be maintained, that it should be put back? The issue over here. The sidewalk was taken out and not put back in. We've got two places in town that sidewalk was taken up and not. And same with the shipping containers, we had,
Were they already in place?
they're already there. What's that?
The shipping containers?
We have two shipping containers in town. We wouldn't allow the one, I didn't know, since we weren't allowing them, if we wanted to follow up with a letter to,
Well, sure
Cause
could
if
get
you're
it,
gonna
sure could.
start, you're gonna start, I mean.
well, if you tell one
And I
person no
think-
and there's two people that have them, then you either
Uh-huh,
allow them or you don't.
I know, you don't, I know.
Same with the sidewalk, we'd said, no, you have to put it back, and I'm like, if we're gonna enforce it, if that's what our code says, we either enforce it or change our
Or
code.
change your code.
Yeah. So, I just know those things have been in the back of my mind that I thought we should probably follow up, especially the shipping containers where we said no to others that, and I didn't know on the sidewalks if we wanted to follow up on that or not.
Any thoughts on that, Dan?
I think it needs to be done. Everyone here took it,
Because
everyone here took an oath to uphold the code, and if that's what the code says, then you either need to change the code or you need to uphold the code.
Or everyone's gonna start taking their sidewalk,
Yeah.
cause this costs too much.
And getting shipping containers and,
Yeah, I know.
that's what I'm like, if it's in the code, we either enforce it or we change the code if we don't
Or
want to.
change
I'm
the
not,
code.
I'm not sure of the sidewalks, but the containers, the ones that are in town have all come in under a construction deal as a temporary deal, the way I understand it.
And then what?
So they need to be approached and say, your temporary is over temporary, now it's time to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody okay with that?
Unless you
Right.
don't wanna.
Yeah.
are letters coming from your office or from our office?
I don't know, that's a question for the council.
What do you guys
Who's-
think?
Who sends the
letters?
letter?
Do you wanna try having it come from City Hall first with less teeth? The minute it comes from me, whether it's the most even if it's worded very nicely and flowery, the minute it comes from my office, it has more teeth than coming from City Hall.
That's correct.
And so I don't know if you guys wanna try,
We can
with
try a
hu-
letter from
with-
City Hall,
with-
and then if we get no response, then we can send a certified letter from Lauren's office, does that sound? So that way we can-
Okay.
Yeah, shipping containers, what about sidewalks?
Either that or we need to change the code.
Yeah.
Too.
and in that case, I think everybody's gonna,
Tear up sidewalks and,
yep,
Yeah.
the minute it gets bad and would need to be repaired, they'll just take it out.
yeah, so, everybody
So-
okay with following up with those two through City Hall first, and then
Yeah.
if we don't hear anything
And
back, and
assuming somebody will provide me with the information that's needed. Okay.
I guess we need,
2 minutes.
2 minutes of executive session for non-elected personnel for wages for the pool. Food and
Why,
pool
how do I
one.
wake this up?
See you, Sherry.
How do I wake it up?
Oh, we have everybody that's
Everybody.
left here.
Okay, all the city employees can stay, I think.
Okay, who was our move by?
Nobody made a motion, who made
Oh.
a motion?
I must go forward.
Peel it out.
Justin, see you,
I don't
Lori.
need to be good with this.
Dara seconded, I think.
Yeah.
She waved.
I waved.
Not sure if that was that long or to move. the decisions were made. Now, Bud, do I hear a motion?
Motion to accept
The wages?
wages.
Okay, moved by Bud. Second by Justin. All in favor? Anything else, or is there a motion to adjourn? Moved by Larry, second by